Okay. Um, I'm making this video because I think it's high time a lot of politicians were indicted and prosecuted for the felonies they commit in broad daylight. And I'm going to explain what that means. Yesterday morning, we had a congressman from upstate, a little further up the way. He owns a pharmaceutical company. And the pharmaceutical company, it's kind of like a medical research, I don't know what, but his business is primarily researching AIDS medication and MS, multiple sclerosis medication. And he was indicted for insider trading, which is what Margaret Stewart went to prison. Martha Stewart went to prison for. Now, what that means is his stockholders all sold their stock the same day, and the next day the company plunged 92%. And the prosecution, federal prosecution, by the way, is alleging that he did insider trading. He called the stockholders and said, "Get the money out. It's going to be gone soon." That's a crime. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to tell someone inside information like that. Martha Stewart went to prison for it for like 3 months, and they want him to resign from Congress. He had to surrender his passport, so he can't escape the country. And is it true or not? Well, that's why we have court. But he is accused of that, and there's calls for resignation. There's calls for lots of shit. Okay? Now, keep this in mind. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, sanctuary states. Okay? Federal law supersedes state law. So that means if your state law says you can have a machine gun, but the federal law says you can't, federal law overrides it. Also, the entire United States has one extradition treaty. You know, extradition, if you commit a crime through the country, will that country send you back to stand trial? That's called extradition treaty. Every bit of soil in the entire United States has an extradition treaty. You can commit a crime in New Jersey. The police in Guam can arrest you, and because Guam is American territory, you're going back. You can commit a crime in Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Marine Corps can find you in the American Embassy in China. But because the American Embassy is U.S. soil, you're going back. Okay, well, you have, and we've gone over this a million times. You've probably seen the news. We have cities, counties in the state of California that have openly, flat out written policies into the city law or this county law or the state law that says we will not comply. And they flat out say it's illegal for a police officer to talk to an ICE agent. It's illegal for the jail to hand over a prisoner to the federal government. Okay? That is 100% no questions asked obstructing justice. Okay? And the most famous case of all was Kate Stanley. He was deported about a dozen times, half a dozen times at least. He was in jail. The federal government told the jail they wanted to pick him up the next couple of days. Don't forget they got to fly out there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The federal government told the jail, we have to extradite him for some very serious federal crimes. He was let go on the state offense, and the jail said, well, we don't agree with ICE, or we don't obey ICE, or we're a sanctuary county, or we're a sanctuary city, and they released him. And the federal government showed up at the jail. Where is this prisoner? Well, we don't agree with that. Okay, and you've seen sanctuary cities, Baltimore, I think it's Philadelphia, definitely Philadelphia. In fact, after Kate Stanley was killed, the federal government, and after Kate Stanley was killed, California declared itself a sanctuary state. Okay, now a woman named Zephyr Teachout, she went against Cuomo in a primary in 2014, and she debated Mike County Executive Rob Astorino when he was running for governor. And even though I disagreed on a lot of policies, she seemed kind of sort of like moderate, okay? She seemed reasonable. Zephyr Teachout apparently has a law degree, and she's running for State Attorney General of New York. Zephyr Teachout made a political campaign ad where she stands in front of a camera and literally says flat out, if ICE agents come to New York, I will arrest them and prosecute them. So if a federal agent comes to New York State with a federal arrest warrant to apprehend a wanted fugitive, you are literally going to arrest a federal agent and bring the federal agent to court. Okay? Cuomo today made an announcement saying, I'm not going to obey ICE, so okay? I'm not going to cooperate with ICE, I'm not going to talk to ICE, okay? And they're flat out saying, we're not going to cooperate, we're going to obstruct, okay? And the sanctuary city, sanctuary county policies have basically led to jails that would get, I don't know if it's a phone call, an email, or whatever, saying a federal agent is going to come to your jail tomorrow with a federal arrest warrant to pick up this fugitive. You must detain him in your jail. And they say, well, we don't agree with that. And they release them from the jail for the sole purpose of making sure ICE can't get them. Okay? But they flat out say, if a federal agent comes to the city hall and says, do you have this guy's last known address? I have to arrest him for, federal arrest warrant for whatever the fuck. He's an illegal alien and, we don't agree with that. Fuck you. Okay? This is what you call open rebellion against the United States. They are going out of their way to put citizens in danger. Because they know for a fact these guys don't belong in the United States, period. Most of these guys have already been convicted of a felony and have other felony charges pending. Most of these guys have been deported and come back in illegal, which is another federal crime on top of that. And looking directly at the federal agents, they tell them, fuck you, we're not going to cooperate. Keep in mind, if an American citizen in those cities or those states has a pistol grip on the rifle, he'll go right to prison. Okay? If you had a guy that you were friends with 20 years ago, and he came back to town, and he said, listen, can I stay at your house for a few days? I'm back in town, I'm getting a job, I gotta stay at your house for a few days. You knew him 20 years ago. Okay, you can stay in my house. While you're at work, he goes out, he gets arrested. If the police know he's staying in your house, you're arrested too for harboring a fugitive. And your defense could be serious defense. This is a friend of mine from 20 years ago. I haven't seen him in a long time. I did not know he was wanted for a crime. I'm sorry. You may very well be prosecuted, and that may be your defense. I didn't know he was a wanted person. I'm sorry. Now, compare that to mayors, county executives, city legislators, county legislators, sheriffs, who flat out say, I know this guy is wanted. I know that you're a federal agent. I see a federal arrest warrant in your hand, but fuck you. Keep in mind, a lot of these guys, after being released from jail, or after the city, or the county, or the state, refused to cooperate with federal officers, the person in question committed rape, murder, kidnapping, assault, drunk driving resulting in death. Okay, now here's the issue. If you have to go to full-fledged criminal trial because you let a friend stay in your house and didn't know the friend was wanted for a crime, why is it that politicians get to flat out tell federal agents fuck you to their face, and I'm not gonna cooperate with your fucking laws, and I don't agree with that, and they get to flat out let people out of jail, let people out of prison, let people out of wherever the fuck they are, hide in the community, and hurt other people? and even after the fugitive escaped from jail and killed someone, or raped someone, or kidnapped someone, they are not punished at all. They don't get a parking ticket. And a couple times, a couple of politicians got sued, maybe. Okay, like Case Dynasty was sued. Prime example. Some of these cities are actually going to court and asking federal judges to declare their sanctuary law constitutional. Okay? We don't agree with federal immigration law. Therefore, we're not going to fucking follow it. Now, the supremacy clause, federal law overrides state law, city law, town law, bills, okay? It overrides it. Okay? Can I make a machine gun in my house? No, I cannot. Why? Because the federal government said no. Okay? Barry, an Iraq veteran, said a couple of years ago, he asked the sheriff, because Barry saw Georgia state law, and Georgia state law said a machine gun is a gun that fires 6 shots when you pull the trigger. Okay? And then Barry asked the sheriff, can I make a select fire AR-15? And the sheriff told Barry, no, you can't, because the federal law says a machine gun is a gun that fires 2 shots when you pull the trigger. Okay? Well, what if Barry said, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway, and made a machine gun that fires 3 shots instead of, okay? And said, I'm compliant with the state law. Fuck the federal law. Okay? Would he have gotten away with it? They're actually suing the federal government in court, saying to the federal judges, we don't want to follow the law. Now imagine this. Imagine if you were making heroin in your house. Heroin in your house. And you're selling heroin to people. And people are shooting up heroin. Okay? And you know for a fact that people died because you made some heroin, sold the heroin, and someone died from it. Or you made the heroin, sold the heroin, and a couple of guys shared a needle and got AIDS. And you went to court and sued the federal government and said, well, I don't want to follow the law. I like selling heroin. And I want you to make a rule saying I don't have to follow the law. Another example. A couple of years ago, up in Clinton County, we had 2 guys. One guy was a year older than me. He was 34, so it was 3 years ago. I'm 36. Okay? There's 2 guys. Guy a year older than me and guy a little bit older than that. They're both convicted murderers. They're having an affair with a woman who was a civilian employee at the prison. And guys, you know, they say prison makes women look beautiful. Okay, this one was fucking ugly as shit. And the woman is having an affair with these 2 men. And they plot to kill her husband. And the deal was, they had hot plates in their jail cell, in their prison cells. And the deal was she would take frozen meat and put hacksaw blades and a couple of things in the frozen meat and smuggle the frozen meat into the prison for them. And they escaped the prison. And they escaped when she was off duty. The plan was to escape, link up with her, go to her house, and kill her husband, and then go on the lam. Okay. They had no intention of helping her murder her husband. She was a means to an end. The minute they got out of the prison, they took off. They left her stranded. They didn't give a shit. Okay? This woman was a prison employee, and she helped 2 men escape from prison. And it cost $1 million a day, and the state police, FBI, U.S. Marshals, Border Patrol, Girl Scouts were going crazy looking for these 2 prisoners. One was shot and killed, the older one. One was shot and captured, the younger one. Okay? While they were on the run, she was in court, chained up like a fucking animal. And she was charged with dereliction of duty, smuggling into prison, aiding and abetting the escape of known fugitives, harboring known fugitives. Okay, she was charged with everything. And they told her in the courtroom flat out, you better hope they don't kill anybody. Because if they kill anybody, you're automatically guilty of murder. Okay, and that woman is never gonna see the outside of a prison cell. Okay, I forget her exact sentence, but she got a lot of years. Okay, what's the difference? Why is it wrong for someone who works in a prison to release two inmates that she knows are dangerous onto the public, but it's not wrong for someone to just open the cage and say, I don't agree with this, and let them go? How is that not aiding and abetting? How is that not aiding non-fugitive? How is that not assisted escape attempt? How is this possible? And I love our president. But it's time for U.S. attorneys to flat out get together and start handcuffing these politicians. Okay? When a city council says we're not going to obey the fucking law, go to City Hall, arrest every single politician there, and charge them with obstructing justice. When a sanctuary city gets a federal arrest warrant and they say, fuck this, okay, and let the prisoner out, go to the jail, arrest every single person there, put them in prison. If the suspect that they helped escape kills somebody, murder charge. Okay? If I can go to prison for letting a fugitive stay in my house, why does a politician get to let a fugitive out of their house? Simple question. I'll give you two examples here, okay? Before I log off, I almost forgot to mention these. Two examples. There's a video, I'll put a link below, where there's a couple of politicians like, they're doing a Snoopy dance, we are a sanctuary city, and they high five. And I said they should play that video on TV when an illegal immigrant in their hometown rapes or kills somebody. Guess what happened? An illegal immigrant would have been deported and snuck back into the country, went to Baltimore, and raped a little girl. Where is that little girl's sanctuary? Okay? Another example. A Mexican national took a girl from her home, and it's alleged that the mother had an understanding with this guy. It's alleged that the mother made a deal with him to get a job somewhere, but it's even alleged that the guy bought the girl from the mother, which is what? Slavery. Now, even though slavery was outlawed in 1865, smuggling slaves into the country was illegal before the Civil War. When the Civil War happened, it was still legal to buy, sell, and trade slaves in America and breed slaves, but for many years it was illegal to bring slaves into the country. This individual bought a little girl from her mother. That is called slavery. He then transported her into the United States and was captured and said, well, this is my daughter, or whatever the fuck he said, and he was given asylum in the United States. He raped her. So you're buying a slave, bringing a slave into the United States, and raping your slave on U.S. soil. Where are the feminists? If a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white, male, heterosexual NRA life member bought a girl and raped her, all of us will be in fucking Gitmo right now. Every single NRA member. Okay? Why the fuck is this allowed to happen? And that's two things there. You got the guy in Philadelphia raping the girl, which is sanctuary city policy. And then you got the guy buying a slave, bringing her here, and raping her, which is this open borders policy. Why is this allowed? I challenge you to let a fugitive stay in your house, and then when the police find out about it, tell the police, fuck you, I don't give you your law. I challenge you to do that. You will be in prison so fast it will make your head spin. Okay? They're calling for ICE to be abolished. They're calling for ICE to be prosecuted. They're calling ICE agents terrorists. And we allow this shit. We allow this shit. Why? Thank you. Goodbye.